Joining us for our first interview is a former government minister, Mr. Austin Jack Warner. Mr. Warner, pleasant good evening, and thank you so much for linking with us here on the Observer, on Gayelle TV, Tigo, Facebook, YouTube, and wherever we are viewed. Pleasant good evening.
Good evening, Mikey, and thanks to all your listeners and your guests and your viewers. I want to say I wish them the best of everything that they wish themselves.
Thank you. Well, a lot is taking place quite recently. We're looking here where the opposition leader, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, has anticipated leading the UNC into the next general election expected in 2025. Earlier this week, she...
Before.
Go ahead. Can you hear?
I said or before.
Or before, that's right. Of course, first meeting of the National Executive took place earlier this week, which of course she has placed the UNC on election footing. Now, as far as looking at that, let's look at leadership first of all. Is there a sense of confidence? I mean, you've said it before, but now we're getting down to the wire where this can be called before, as you mentioned, and maybe even 2025. Full confidence in the leadership?
I have full confidence, as I said over and over again. If not Kamala, who? I don't see any of the present pretenders to Kamala's throne being successful in trying to get this country to go their way of thinking. And therefore, as far as I'm concerned, Kamala is the only hope for 2025. After that, que sera, sera. But we shall be foolish, utterly foolish, to change Kamala at this point in time or to even advocate it. And I am most surprised when I read and I hear members of the UNC advocating a regime change at this point in time.
Yeah. Now, as far as also new dynamics, we have a PNM talk show host who made it quite clear that going into the local government election, the PNM was not popular, the leader wasn't liked, but what they did, of course, was find some of the best suitable candidates that people would gravitate to. Is there some new dynamics that is needed when people talk about voter motivation?
I have said before that when Kamala puts forth her team for 2025 or before, people must say, wow, what a team. And that team must be one that is automatically acceptable to the rank and file of the population. There are far too many persons, in my humble view, at this point in time, who don't need to be in the parliamentary wing, so to speak. And therefore, if Kamala chooses to put a team where the people can say, wow, what a team, then it is easy to win the next election. Rowley is the most unpopular prime minister this country has ever seen. In fact, he staying on in the PNM is an asset to the UNC or to any other aspirant. But we have to plan properly, and we have to make sure that we engage the population more than ever before.
Going into the local government elections, Prime Minister Dr. Rowley said that Warner, yourself, cannot cause any swing in votes in any party of the country, including the East-West corridor, to threaten the PNM in the elections. Based on the results, I think one would have to make, or I should say they would have to make a reassessment. What say you?
Well, surely. And of course, I don't think anybody takes Rowley seriously anymore, except the sycophants in his party, that is. Not even the cabinet. People take him seriously. They whisper behind his back and they mumble and say all kinds of negative things about him. And the fact that he says I have no political value, I'm happy about that. What I do know is that I was able to walk in Sangigani and help the UNC to victory with Nasser Hussein. I walked in Valencia West and helped the UNC to get Valencia West with Neil De Silva. I walked in Bagatelle and the records there speak for themselves. I worked in Maruga Tableland, and right now that is done for dispute. And the list goes on and on. And even if you look at Tuapuna, which is supposed to be the UNC heartland, if I were the UNC, I would be extremely worried because the facts there have shown that if I were the PNM, I'd be very worried because the facts there have shown that the UNC has made tremendous strides in Tuapuna and environments.
And you have been on the ground. I mean, many people saying that they weren't able to keep up with you. You were definitely burning some wheels on your heels. And with this interaction, what was the most that stood out to you? That one thing, talking to people, villagers in their communities. What was that one thing, that message that you took away from all of that?
Mikey, if I were to tell you, before I answer your question, if I were to tell you, I have been asked by many people who were working with me to take it easy, to slow down, and so on. I took this thing as a factor which we had to overcome. And I worked like it was crazy, because each time I worked, I saw myself as mashing Rowley and PNM into the ground. And to answer your question now, the fact is that I will do anything. I want to say it very slowly. I will do anything to ensure that Rowley in particular and his government in general leave this country in peace. Because we are now in the worst possible position, whether it's in economically, whether it's in crime, you name it, we are in the worst possible position. And having listened to Patrick Manning, when he said, don't put Rowley ever in government, and of course, he said so too of Colin Inwood, then we would not have been in this position. But we were hardened, and we are paying a price for that at this moment.
You were a former national security minister. Looking on now, seeing that many of our senior citizens have become soft targets, home invasions, where people are simply jumping the walls, going into the homes of people, taking, of course, all their valuables, and not only that, threatening their lives and assaulting and even sexually assaulting their family. Looking on, did you ever at any time at all envision Trinidad and Tobago would have reached to such a state?
Nobody who is very serious, Mikey, can ever say that they had perceived that this country would have fallen so low. In fact, what is for me even more painful is that when guys who have FULs engage these criminals, the police take their FULs, take their firearms, and they hold it for months, almost years, without giving it back to the FUL holders. And they're exposing them to risk and to murders by these criminals. What I'm saying to you is that when I was Minister of National Security, I said that the first thing we have to do is to protect our borders. I have advocated coastal police stations in Matlock, in the Carcass, in Cedars, and in these outposts where we know that the criminals and the firearms and so on come into the country. This never happened because I left prematurely. But at the end of the day, I'm saying that if we don't have a handle on crime, we can say whatever we want. This country will not succeed, and at this present moment, I do not think that Rowley and the government have a handle on crime.
I mean, it's created quite a domino effect. I mean, just today, the government has turned the sod for what is known as an assessment center to deal with those people who are socially displaced. Of course, that didn't come about overnight. And of course, even the minister, well, not the minister, but the MP for Port of Spain, which is Keith Scotland, said that there's been an increase as far as homeless people in the country. Do you believe that is a sense of being out of sync with reality?
They are out of sync. They are out of sync because the vagrancy has increased tremendously. They are out of sync because crime has increased tremendously. They are out of sync because poverty has increased tremendously. Look, our brightest people are not leaving our shores and going overseas. I have a doctor friend who can't even get employment in the health sector. Just last week, I spoke to a minister and was telling the minister that he has a vagrant sleeping in a toilet next to the playground where I live. And I was told there's nothing she can do about it. Wherever you turn in this country, there's bedlam, insecurity, and poverty. And if I were Kamala, I would make sure that I would use these issues as reasons for regime change. I hope seriously that this is done.
Mr. Warner, you, of course, in the twilight of your life, you can sit down, perhaps spend some time with your family, your loved ones, your grandchildren. Why? Why put yourself back into the arena as far as politics is concerned?
Good question, Mikey. And I say this to you, that if I have the last breath in my body, I want to ensure that this country becomes the paradise that it has been. Right now, this country is a disaster. And if I cannot sit by, I cannot sit down and watch this country go to waste. and do nothing about it. I have never been one to sit on the fence, so to speak. And if there are those who are happy sitting on the fence, I am saying that the time will come when they shall pay a high price for that. And therefore, to answer your question, I want to repeat that I believe that I should pay some kind of service towards change in this country and towards bringing back this country to the paradise that it was.
Yeah. Want to ask you, of course, before I let you go, the issue in Tobago. We have, of course, Watson Duke, who is now asking for some sort of reconciliation.
He's a joker. Watson Duke is a joker. Sorry to mention that for you. He's a joker, and I don't understand the guy. I mean, I knew him well. We were good friends at one point in time. I don't understand what he's doing, what he's making himself into, why he's making himself into a mockery that he has become, and what he hopes to gain by trying to entice Fally Augustine to welcome him on board as if nothing has happened before. There has been too much bad blood between Duke and Fally, and in fact between Duke and many other persons and institutions. And therefore, if I were Duke, I would simply go into the wilderness, the political wilderness, so to speak, and pray. Because at this point in time, Duke has no relevance to the politics of Tobago and to the politics of Trinidad and Tobago.
But if asked to mediate between both gentlemen, because if Mr. Duke is going to launch whatever campaign, and they ending up could be a split of the votes, that in itself is going to hurt the development of Tobago. So if asked Jack Warner to step in and mediate and make something happen, are you willing to?
Sure, and that's one of the reasons why I'm going to Tobago on September 22nd for 3 days to try to have meetings with Duke and Fally Augustine and to see how best we can bring this situation under control. And I am doing this. I have not, of course, I have no magic wand, so to speak, but I'm going there because I believe I can contribute to begin some kind of reconciliation.
Yeah. Final comment, go right ahead. Closing comments, Mr. Warner.
I want to say that if it were possible, that people could see, and I'm talking particularly now about the political PNM sycophants, if they can see the disaster that this country has become, if they can just for a moment look at the country that we have today and what the country was or has been in the past, if they can forget their sycophancy and think about the children, think about the country, think about the young people, who think about the unemployed, think about all those people who in some way this country is impacting on negatively. If they can do that and help to change the government as it stands today, this shall be the best thing ever happen for a lifetime.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. We'll be checking in with you periodically, and all the best to you and your entire team. Thank you so much.
No problem, Mikey. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.